Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, a very good evening. Let me start by taking you through a journey on how we started this initiative called Right to Play. It all started with this, Piala Datuk Mai Krishnan. It was initiated sometime last year. And in the beginning, we were a bit reluctant to move on it because we were planning for something really, really big. So when we decided to work with AMMA Foundation on a joint venture, we first said, let's have a 16-team tournament. And as it went on, we started growing in confidence, and we said, okay, let's have a 32-team tournament. And finally, we decided to have a 64-team tournament, which qualifies for a national level tournament. So this went really, really well. And once this was a success, we realized that many youths started getting excited. They started having some sort of confidence that, we can pull something bigger and bigger after this. Right after this, the next focus was on Stand Up for Education, which is actually not really related to RTP, but I'll just mention it very briefly. They grew in confidence and they said, let's do something else, something different. Exactly what we did. And we came up with this brand, Stand Up for Education, which is also going to be an annual event. We had the top 5 best performers in Malaysia, including someone who's recognized as the #1 comedian in Asia, which is Harith Iskandar. So he was part of our team and we got about 1,000 attendees. So because of this, once again, we grew in confidence. And we said, okay, this time for PDMK, we are going to do something bigger. We had no idea, but we brainstormed. We sat together as a team and we discussed, how can we make this bigger? We have already gone to the level of 64 teams. How much better can it get? So as we brainstormed and we threw our opinions and showcased it to many people, people started hearing about it, and River Sports Asia, Glenn is there, he heard about it, and he felt that this was a noble cause. It's a good cause, and he would want to work with us. So we sat down, we discussed, and we came up with this new initiative known as Right to Play. So under Right to Play, we will have Piala Datuk Mai Krishnan as we will have a Piala Datuk Mai Krishnan underprivileged tournament. It's not an open tournament like what we had the last time. Last year it was an open tournament, 64 teams, anyone can join. So you join, the profits that we get from it, we channel it towards charitable causes. This time we want to take a more direct approach, a more personal approach. We want to give the kids a chance to play. We want to give them an opportunity to play, give them a platform to play. Because we hear stories of students or young kids who want to play. In fact, they've been selected for their school team, but they can't play because they cannot afford the boots. Really good players, but they can't play because they cannot afford boots. Something as simple as that. They can't afford to buy the jersey if it's not sponsored by the school. So this is what we are trying to do right now. A more personal and private and more direct approach so that we can see the growth of these young kids from where they were and where they would become. We have a lot of exciting things lined up. For those who have potential, we can link them to very, very good academies, football academies. So they will have a lot of very, very good opportunities. And again, Glenn will speak about that a little bit later. So this is the concept of Right to Play. It's not just about having a tournament and giving money to someone. It's about having a tournament that will benefit the kids. Having a tournament whereby kids will be given a chance to play. Okay. Some may ask, is this really going to be sustainable? Will this work? are the kids really going to benefit from it? So let's move on to the next few slides. These are some of the players that I think we all know. Some very famous players. Ronaldo of Brazil, Luis Ronaldo. He was born in a poverty-stricken family and he couldn't even afford to take a bus fare. Achievements. 3 times FIFA World Player of the Year and one of the greatest strikers of all time is Ronaldo. Diego Maradona. I think we all know him as a legend. Raised in a home with 7 people sharing a small room. He had a difficult childhood. He didn't have proper education. Football was his only salvation. He made it big and people still regard him as one of the greatest players of all time. And just to mention that some of our youth members, you can see in the last 4 rows there, a few of us managed to meet Maradona a few weeks ago. So we are quite thrilled by it. He's an acclaimed football legend. Tevez. Raised in a crime-ridden neighborhood and born in a poverty-stricken family, yet the Argentine went on to become one of the finest strikers in South America for Argentina. He even won trophies in England for Manchester United, but he had a troubled childhood. Lionel Messi. From 11-year-old growth hormone deficiency-stricken kid to one of the world's finest players. The cost of treatment was about USD 800, which is actually a huge sum. And today he's regarded as one of the, or probably the greatest players of all time, today. In a different era, we cannot compare with Maradona's era, but today he's regarded as one of the greatest players of all time. 4-time UEFA Champions League winner, 3-time UEFA Champions League top scorer, and 7-time La Liga winner, Lionel Messi. Right, so what we can see here is that some of the best players did not have the best childhood. They had issues. Financially challenged, physically challenged, medically challenged, perhaps domestic violence, perhaps growing up in a troubled neighborhood. They all had issues, but there are 2 things in common. The first is that they never gave up. They had the right attitude. They didn't use it as an excuse. And the second is that there was always someone to lend them a support. There was always someone to give them a hand. And here in RTP, we in RTP, Right to Play, we wish to be that hand. Thank you.